Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome one and all to another Property Quorum. So once again, here we are, four horsemen at the edge of the apocalypse. My name is Gareth from Many Purple Lads. If you haven't seen him before, of course, the incomparable Hamish McLay of Search and Convey, Juliet Baboolal of gunnercooke, and of course, incomparable Chris Gilsenan of Route Home. And what we tend to do is toss around ideas to do with property. We try and poke around in the embers of what's there, desperately trying to catch flame. And today is no different. Our title today, designed to provoke ideas and thoughts and perhaps a response, is Will Uncertainty at number 10 translate into property chaos? Hamish, I'm throwing you under the bus. Will it?
Well, chaos indeed, internal chaos. It's sad today we're not able to have Joe with us, who has sort of an emergency cropped up, so we couldn't have him along. It's a sad thing, because his sort of financial perspective would have been very, very useful to see what he felt whatever's going on at number 10 would sort of create. An interesting aspect, I don't quite know which publication it came from, but they were suggesting although the economic situation is such that it would suggest it would be a good idea to reducing that sort of base rate by the Bank of England, the uncertainty of what the election will bring about is likely to restrain the Bank of England from any changes there. But there's bound to be some mayhem. There's bound to be some changes. I think it's how we cope with the changes that's going to be the important thing.
Juliet, will there be absolute scenes? What's going on?
Quite possibly. I heard a broker say this week, if you're getting a fixed rate mortgage, ensure that it's for the minimum term, because rates are likely to drop and you don't want to be caught in a higher rate bracket as such. But it's anyone's guess, really. And I think Hamish hit the nail on the head. We've got to cope with whatever's thrown at us. I have to say, refreshingly, we've been sort of saying, the land registry and delays, etc., etc. And I'm not sure if forums like this or other people banging on doors saying, the land registry are absolute rubbish in terms of timescales. I've been getting land registry things back within 3 days. This week.
You think they're putting their fingers out because they hear we're moaning about them?
They're doing something, and it's absolutely refreshing, So the reality is there is likely to be some level of mayhem. If I had to guess whether there would be or would not be, I would say yes, there would be. But it's about coping with whatever comes to us. Wow.
Well, it seems to me, Chris, that we're giving thanks that people are actually listening. And since when did that become a thing to celebrate? I thought that was just normality.
Well, I'm not sure the land registry are watching our show, but it's be quite an honour if they are. I think with any level of change, that it brings uncertainty, and that's quite normal. But people are terrified of change. But the nature of reality is that everything's changing all the time. We've spoke at length about the politics and how that impacts on us, the normies, I guess. I've spoken quite a lot about my view about politics and how I don't think there's really any distinction between the two. They seem to all be centrists, and there's not really any difference in.
I think they should get together and form a new party that's mauve.
Yeah, I think it will bring some sort of chaos, and yeah, I think that's kind of what it's intended to do. I think to some extent it's bread and circuses or pantomime. I don't think they will have a huge impact in reality in how things will operate, and the speed at which things change is so slow in those sorts of arenas that really the chaos will come from people's perspective of the uncertainty. So, for example, when the trust fiasco happened nearly 2 years ago, it was not what she did or did not do, but it was how the markets reacted And then the lenders just imploded and the swap rates shot up and everyone else's rates shot up. And that was the real impact on what happened. She didn't really do anything other than mention a couple of things that she was going to do or thought about doing.
It was a confidence thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and confidence drives our markets. I think we should call it a trust go. Whenever you commit a trust go, where you talk about stuff that you're going to do and it causes everybody to throw their hands up in the air and go nuts. Hamish, is this going to be another trust go? I'm trying to get it into modern parlance, so forgive me. Go on.
Well, it's hard to estimate fully. I mean, one of the good news bits about the whole thing, and we can actually, it's good that we've got a prime minister that's done something at least, which is helpful, because announcing the 4th of July celebratory day for the Americans, at least, announcing that, it really means we've got a very, very short period of time. In fact, I think it's marginally around about the same level of time that the aforementioned Ms. Truss actually happened to be sort of in power. So within 6 weeks, we will know what's actually happening. Shortly afterwards, I'm not too sure. I can't remember. I'm bad enough actually with school timetables now. I don't know what the parliamentary timetable is. I think the election results will come about just in time for their summer recess, which is, that's the unfortunate aspect about it. But I mean, when we actually look at this is a sad thing, and I think as Chris says, there's no way that we can actually sort of suggest what is going on. The Labour Party, who one would assume would be looking at sort of finding ways of getting, if you like, those who are voting for them, because many of them will sort of struggle with housing at this particular moment, will be wanting to actually get them into houses. But they've actually dropped down. Housing has dropped at below the top 6 important things to what this incoming Labour government will actually be bringing, if that's what we have to end up with doing. And of course, we know the disastrous situation that we've actually sort of had with the departing Conservative government. So between them, they're not really achieving as much as we would like for the majority of the population. The great thing is we do have people out there who just accept change is inevitable, and they work with the change in the best way that they can actually find going through it. And that's the good point. And that is the one good thing about it. Something will come of it, and people will actually work there. Those that think outside the box and think, oh, we need to look at this a slightly different way, they're going to be doing it. The resistance in dropping down the sort of rates, I don't think is going to hold those with great intention. I think they're going to go ahead and things are going to be working through. And the legal scene isn't actually going to change in any time sort of soon. So the likes of Juliet, of course, are just going to be able to sort of carry on. They know what it's like. They already know what it's like. Nothing new is going to happen in the short term, I believe, because nobody can actually do anything now. They've just messed up so much.
Well, I'm actually just been in chat because you missed out our special guest today. But I think I might have someone who's going to jump in at the last minute, Charlie, who's going to actually have an opinion about this very topic. He's not there yet, but as soon as he is, I'll bring him into the fray. What I was going to ask is, Juliet, is there anything we can do to prepare for this? And I know we don't know precisely which way it's going to flip or flop, but there's certain things we can do to shore ourselves up, surely.
We need to sort of face the music and understand there's no quick fix. So irrespective of what happens in the political arena, don't expect, whoever our new prime minister is to wave a magic wand and have everything fixed. It's taken so long to sort of come on this downward slope. It's going to take a long time for reform, and it's going to take, a government that actually does what it says it's going to do. So the reality is there's not going to be any quick fix. It's about risk analysis. It's about you threading carefully and understanding what you're getting yourself into. So you'll find that lenders are going to be more cautious in terms of, their lending and their stipulations and their requirements for borrowers. You're finding that developers or their the project managers are going to be cautious as well in terms of coming up with cost schedules and things, because who knows if there's going to be a knock-on effect on the cost of materials or labor, etc. So there's a whole host of things landlords are going to thread carefully in terms of purchasing, because, can you get rid of a tenant? Can you get rid of we had all that spiel about the Section 21s, etc. So the reality is it's about threading carefully and understanding what repercussions or outcomes your particular action is going to have. And for us as lawyers, it's about advising our clients on risk and what is likely to less affect them going forward.
Chris, is this already having an effect on your business? I mean, you've got your nose right up against the fire seam, or the coal seam, I should say. Are you already seeing people being more cautious about making a move? Not yet. However, the great thing about change and bringing chaos into the markets is that as everyone else loses their mind, as a professional investor, my perspective is, well, actually, opportunity is abundant in those scenarios because everyone else runs for the hills. So it actually opens up different angles and different avenues for me to pursue. Juliet mentioned about the chaos around Section 21. But when that was going, and they've spun around so many times on that one. But when they first mentioned that, landlords just exited the market in droves. Well, I understand that because they've been hammered over the head for so many years with increasing regulation. My perspective is that I'm just going to grin and bear it, because as they exit the market, it reduces competition. So there's more opportunity for me and there's more stock available for me. So I kind of welcome change, and I welcome different regulation, increasing regulation, because as it's just something else that will bolt into our operations. It's not going to create a blockage for me. Wow. I'll tell you what, it does seem like everybody's about to prepare to throw their toys out the pram. I do hope that doesn't happen. Hamish, what can we do to put ourselves in the right frame of mind to cope with this, given the fact that we don't know what kind of blend or shade or hue the next government is going to be?
Well, one interesting perspective, it's a little bit like that sort of massive great tanker in the oceans, isn't it? Whatever speed it's going at, it's sort of started. You try and stop that tanker, and that tanker is going to plow on pretty well indefinitely until it comes to a grinding halt. There's nothing that can really stop it immediately. And the same is going on because there are plans to go forward. We know the devastation that was caused last year and the number of large building projects particularly. This is the danger. I think this is the great thing about, if you like, the way that people like Chris are helping the housing market by making available many more sort of properties, because they go on, they continue. And this is one of the big arguments that we actually sort of have, that there are far too many large operators, like the large construction companies, and we don't know which one's going to go bust next. But unfortunately, they all do the same thing. Unfortunately, unlike the tanker, they found a way of stopping. They just down tools and evacuate the site and leave their masses of houses just sat there waiting until the prices pick up or something picks up, or the financial sort of rates, the lending rates actually sort of reduce. So there's that particular sort of impact. So I think that the great news is, for those who want to persist, and Chris says you go looking, don't you? You look for what you can actually, and you look out there and you keep abreast of what is actually sort of going on. I mean, the strange thing is the conservatives were getting very excited in some publication or other by suggesting they'd actually built 1 million new properties, or they thought they might have been getting near it, but they thought if they used any energy performance certificates to sort of add to the money to make the numbers up, it would be a good idea. So we don't really know whether 1 million new properties. We haven't got a clue about that, to be perfectly honest. But they're trying to say things, and when you actually look at them, who was it? Which party was it? Was it the Labour Party? 500,000 properties a year,
at least. Well, we're very lucky. We've got a late entrant, David Burford. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day, David.
Thank you very much. Yeah, nice to be here.
David, where are you from? Your business. What's your business?
Right, my business. I organise and run property networking events. I've also previously been a mortgage broker, a commercial mortgage broker. That's really what I have been doing until very recently. But I've stopped doing that at the moment, and it's just the property networking events that I'm doing at the moment.
Okay, well then I ask you what today's question is, which is, will uncertainty at number 10 translate into property chaos?
No, I don't think it will. No, we've had a lot of uncertainty in politics over the last few years, and house prices have remained firm. A lot of people predicted that we were going to have a housing price crash. It hasn't happened.
Right.
When the demand is still outstripping supply, and I think that's what's driving house price stability.
Well, thank you very much for attending. I'm just going to drop you out because we're running out of time. But thank you very much for popping on and giving your opinion. Carl has joined us as well. Carl, where are you? Which organisation are you from, sir?
Good morning. I'm an independent property investor, and I have my own business, Cozy Homes, for numerous property ventures.
All right. Well, then I'm going to throw at you the same question as I threw at David earlier, which is, will uncertainty at number 10 translate into property chaos? What's your opinion?
There will be quite a bit of uncertainty as to how it'll pan out because of the Labour-Tory divide, but I think it'll kind of fall into either-or situation rather than absolute chaos, because I think we understand the traits of each of the two bickering realms, and as much as it's been a case, particularly between Wales and London, a case of one-upmanship for the whole time that they've both been opposing each other, I think that if one party gets in, it'll be one brand, and if the other party gets in, it'll be an opposite brand. And I think that will lead to the consequences that I think most of us can see or expect as a result of whoever will win. Personally, wow. I think it will make life difficult either way, because I think that both of them are trying to optimize the situation in regard to landlords everywhere. We are an easy target in that sense, but I think that once whichever government gets in realizes the value and the benefit of our contribution to the country and the PRS, if they ever get to realize the benefit and the contribution we make, then perhaps they can be a bit more helpful towards us.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your taking the time out to give us your opinion. I'm just going to drop you back to the green room. Thank you very much. So, Juliet, there we go. We've got a couple of likely lads dropping in there and giving us their opinion. What's your response?
It's really about perspective. You know, half glass, half full, half empty. Really, what is chaotic? Because someone's chaos is someone else's gain. You know, if someone's looking for opportunity in the spate of all of this chaotic elements in terms of the uncertainty, then I do think that there is gain to be had. So it's about perspective. It's about how you view this. Now, I see politicians as salespeople, and I take everything with a pinch of salt. So I think, treading carefully, looking at what you've got, understanding what, the outcomes are in terms of what we're faced with, that will ultimately help you in terms of navigating the uncertainty that's likely to arise.
Okay, well, look, that's been marvelous. I think I'm going to throw it back to Hamish to take us home.
Well, I think there is, you're always asking this, are there any sort of decent lights at the end of the tunnel, that we aren't going to be trains coming at us. And I do actually sort of think, and both Chris and Juliet have sort of reinforced it. If you got your feet on the ground and if you're looking, that we've got a allegedly healthier housing stock. I don't know quite what the balance is, but there are more houses available this year on the market than there were this time last year. And that in itself speaks well. And of course, it reinforces what Chris was saying sort of too, because there will be people, they don't want to dip their toes in the water, they're going to be hanging back. And that creates opportunity. And as Juliet says, you keep your eyes open and you know exactly what you're doing. You're looking at the risk and the balance is there. So I don't think chaos is, because you think about what we've had to live through for the last 5 years under this particular sort of government. Much of it imposed by the government itself because of the way they have reacted. And this is, again, what Juliet was saying, it's how we react to the situation that makes a difference. And I think if we actually go with it, it does not matter. It's life. Whatever happens, it's going to happen. Change is going to happen. We can just benefit from it or lose out. Our choice, I think. Because at the end of the day, you can only be as happy as you choose for yourself to be.
I can see in the green room Carl nodding away there. I just want to thank our late attendees, which is Carl and David. Thank you so much for popping in at the last minute to give us your opinion. This is Property Quorum. We do meet weekly. We don't usually have quite so many entrants, but it's very nice to see you all. And thank you for popping in to help us out. And hopefully we'll see you all next week, every Thursday at 10 o'clock. This has been Property Quorum.